Hello again, everyone, and welcome to what is one of the most difficult and high-speed circuits on the calendar, the Baku City Street Circuit. Now, Division 1 looks to put on a hot one tonight, and Race Day 2016 looks to make it 5 consecutive wins in a row so far this season at this 6-kilometer circuit, which straddles the Caspian Sea, and with 2 DRS zones along the main straight and out of Turn 2, it's going to be one of the best tracks for overtakes this season. Drivers will have to keep their patience and their wits throughout today's race, as a safety car is not uncommon. Hotspot on the call here for Division 1 this week. Race Day 2016 looking to make it 5 consecutive wins here in Division 1. Should be a very incredible Grand Prix. It's not going to be a clear day today, but no rain in sight for today's session. Nice and relaxed, I think, especially after last week out at Hungary. I think this is going to be despite it being, I think, a helpful change of pace as far as weather-wise, it does appear that tonight's Division 1 grid might be in for just a little bit of trouble. It is, after all, and I say this quite confidently, at least in my opinion, this is, I believe, one of the better tracks on the F1 schedule. I really think of it, it's just a better Monaco, really. It's high speed, it's overtaking, it's in the streets. It's, one mistake and your day is over, and I think, say what you will about its safety concerns and whatnot, I think that can all be sorted out. But what they've done is they really have laid the groundwork for an absolutely wonderful circuit to watch both in real life and in the game. It's one of the very few tracks that accomplish that feat of being both a great in-game and in real life as well. So it should be very fun to watch. Speaking of real life, first Grand Prix held in 2016. Charles Leclerc holds, as of last season, it holds the race lap record 1:43.009. I believe that's still accurate. Could be, could not be, in 2019. And I believe, as far as I'm concerned, again, I don't think this is as accurate as it should be. I don't believe a driver's won at this circuit twice. That's what it says in my notes. I don't think that's correct, but who knows? Drivers out on track here in Division 1. It's a great sight to see. The biggest and best story so far is that of Race Day 2016, as I've mentioned, looking to make it 5 consecutive race wins. And if you saw Race Day 2016, if you joined us the tail end of last season, the past couple of the latest couple of rounds of last season, you would not have assumed that he was going to be taking this big of a championship lead. He was freshly promoted from Division 2 into Division 1. Even he admitted at the end of Div 2 2 seasons ago, he wasn't necessarily expecting much out of him. And I think really, maybe did he panic a little bit and start to make some questionable decisions, make mistakes. Well, patience is a virtue, and it definitely breeds experience as well, because this guy is on fire. And I tell you what, it does seem at the moment like he could begin to run away with the championship. It is still early days. This is only round 6 this season. So, say about it what you will. I think Race Day 2016 could be on pace to win a championship. Still a lot of time left in the season. He's making it undoubtedly very, very difficult to bet against him. He'll be coming to the line here shortly to start his first timed lap of the day. Down the pit straight, full rev limiter there, bumping the chip as we like to say. Makes his way into turn 1, down into 3rd or 4th gear. Typically you want to take that 3rd. He's chosen to take it in 4th, and his qualifying pace is excellent, so I'm not really going to question him that much. That's a corner you want to try to get correctly. That outside wall does creep up on you right quickly, that as well as in turn 1. This overtaking zone into turn 3 is quite tricky because the outside wall creeps up on you very quickly, as well as the inside wall too. So that's very difficult, and I think he's actually going to lay off this lap. Perhaps was he just not happy about how he took turn 3, and he's going to lay off this attempt. Ahead of him is, I believe that is the Alpine of Aero Racing Design, making his way through the flick of turn 5 and 6. In now towards 7. This is a tricky corner to get correctly. Beware of track limits. You got to cut as much of the circuit as you can through turn 7 and now into the famous I am stupid corner of the castle section. Absolutely, I mean, you could only barely fit 2 pieces of paper through that section of track, never mind 2 Formula 1 cars. And Aero Racing Design has done it quite well then through 13, 14 into the very tight and tricky corner of 15. That one sure to claim some drivers in the race. It sure did in real life. Turn 16 now, quite easy, although the raised curve on exit of the corner could prove some spins. We saw that a couple of times last season. Now through 18 and 19. Very easy corner to get correct, but if you're on worn tires and you don't decide to lift for it, it will bite you. We've seen that place. Those couple of corners make quite some carnage so far here when we've raced at the circuit. Aero Racing Design 140.559. That looks a good lap. A difficult one to beat. Got Palmer 141.230. He was the most recent driver on a paced lap behind him. Scavney's gone second, 147.18, and Matt Rosie 139.807. That, I tell you what, it has been quite a while since we've seen Matt Rosie top the timing charts in Division 1. It's good to see that name back atop the table. Aero Racing Design's gone second, 145.59. That is 3/4 of a second behind Matt Rosie at this moment in time. We've got the AlphaTauri up next. It is VTEC to the line now, across the line. Last season's Division 2 champion goes just under 2 seconds off the pace, puts himself P7 at the moment. Next up, we have a Mercedes. I want to say it's not Impossible Bacon, it's GSR Edwin, the only other driver to win a Grand Prix so far this season here in Division 1. He's won round 1, that being at Saudi Arabia. I will say he's kept it right close in the championship standings, all things considered. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles today. Finds himself in second, 0.3 of a second back to Matt Rosie. Next up, we have the Ferrari. I believe it is going to be Scornsy coming to the line now. Former Division 1 champion looking to strut his stuff here on the streets of Baku, and at the moment it's a Ferrari 140 flat. Puts himself just under 2.5 tenths behind his teammate. That is a really good lap, and one I'm sure he can perhaps build upon there. It's a very difficult circuit, this, because there's not many places. As race day now, fastest 139.708 beats Matt Rosie by less than a tenth. It's a very difficult track, this, for qualifying, because there's just simply not many places that you can really improve the time. You either bang the apexes correctly, or you don't, and you lose the time. It's very similar to Monza in that respect. One mistake really could spell the end of a timed lap attempt. Race Day 2016 has put in a very competitive timed attempt there. Have to wait and see if it stays as competitive. Next up is Gunner, although I'm afraid he has invalidated his time. I believe VTEC's on his way back to the pits, and while we have a small lull in the action, let's take you through our standings. So far here in Division 1, Race Day 2016 leads the standings by 40 points, 496. Back to Edwin in second, 40 points at 456. Scornsy third at 431. Huxid 413. Got Palmer 411. Aero Racing Design 406. Dusty Lusky and Impossible Bacon tied for P7 at 381. Scavney 9th at 377. Shariah Coleslaw rounding out the top 10 at 358. So it is, despite the numbers and despite the wins from Race Day 2016, it does seem as if it's not over yet. And I hate to say that because, obviously we are only 6 rounds into the season. It does quite look like, on paper, on the statistics, that he could be running away with it, but that doesn't seem the case as far as the points are concerned. And as far as the constructor standings, we've got McLaren leading Mercedes by 70 points, 907 to 837. Alpine in third at 819. Ferrari a little bit behind that, 782. Haas well over 100 points behind that at 663. Williams at 650. Red Bull 567. AlphaTauri 550. Aston Martin at 366. Alfa Romeo rounding it out at 294. So it looks like constructors maybe not as close. Well, I will say it's quite even between the both of them, isn't it? Because we've got 70 points between the constructors at the top of the table. We've got 40 between first and second and drivers. I tell you what, there's still a lot to play for. I wouldn't give up just yet. And I think Race Day, I think maybe the biggest challenge for him this season is going to be keeping up the consistency. I don't want to see him let one mistake topple the rest of his season because, last season, again, he was in position for a good amount of time to take a title away from Ryan Rodds or Scornsy. And I'm afraid a couple of bad decisions and mistakes maybe could have ruined that chance. And I think he's matured from that since then. And I think now he's got himself in his best position so far to make himself a champion. I say so far, this is only his second full-time season in Division 1, and that is quite a feat to be proud of there for Race Day 2016, on the precipice of the new game coming out as well. We want to end 2022 with a bang, and the 22 game with a bang. And I tell you what, that was the risk we got into with this game. You know, new handling model with the brand new cars. It was a big risk, and I tell you what, some drivers have thrived, some have not. Race Day undoubtedly has thrived in that respect. We'll have to wait and see if that same standard is held true for 23. Maybe someone new comes into the picture for the F1 23 game, sure to come out in the summertime around the British Grand Prix. So it'll be a very, very interesting situation to watch for Race Day. I believe next up we do have an AlphaTauri. It is Cowboy coming in. Behind him we've got the Alpine of Hoxid. He's going to be coming around. I believe he's going to be starting his time lap now. In the meantime, I'm going to crack open a cold one. That was pretty good. To the line he goes into the first corner. Let's see what Hoxid's got on the table here for the Alpine team. Very nicely done through turn 1, as it looks like Cowboy's retired in the pits through turn 2 now. Not a lot over the apex curb. I think he's handled it quite well. We'll just have to wait and see. I think he maybe was a little slow on acceleration. In towards turn 3 now. Hits the apex beautifully. That's where Race Day, we saw him, I think, have a moment in his first attempt that he wasn't happy with. Ooh, that's big oversteer there coming out of 4. That one might be difficult to catch up with. That just little snap of oversteer may tank the rest of this attempt. It looks a good one. Oh, but I'm not sure how this is going to go now for Hoxid, because, again, mistakes very, very hard to correct, and not a lot of places to make up for them at this circuit. Through the castle section, he's handled it well. I think maybe a little slow at the top of it, going over the crest of the hill. I think maybe he could have taken that one better. Tough to tell. Full throttle then through 13, 14, braking into 15, holds it nicely, uses the exit curb well, not even close to the wall really on that attempt. Touches the curb on the way in, it is purple sector 2, holds the exit nicely. Through 18 and 19, this is where the mistake could be made. No mistakes to be found there. This looks a solid lap from the Alpine then, as he makes his way down the pit straight. Full throttle across the line goes GSR Hoxid. It's a 1:43.48. And I believe the only driver he's actually leapfrogged on the table was his own teammate of Area Racing Design. Unfortunate, because he has bested his previous attempt by almost 4/10, and still only enough for P7. Have I a tick on me? That feels right weird. It's on my leg. No. Now, I believe I want to bring about one here. I assume this is his child. Oh, as GSR Hawks had spun it there. Congratulations to Nicky64. He's posted an infant baby in the chat. I'm assuming that's his child. I'm not rightly sure any information outside of that. Yeah, congratulations to Nicky64. That's why he's not in attendance tonight. Very nice to see. Hoxid has spun it there. Slightly an odd place to spin it. That was coming out of turn 7. Next up to the line, I believe, we have the Williams of Shariah on his way in. Lancey P10. Race Day 2016 has improved on his best. 1:39.258. And he's put almost 0.6 of a second behind. I believe next up we're going to have Scornsy. Yeah, I'm going to say this isn't his time to attempt unless it is. I can't quite tell. Making his way now through turn 15. Big wiggle there on exit. The timing line he goes. Yeah, he's a second and a half slower. I don't believe this is going to be the attempt that he's looking for here. Just under 4 minutes to go left in the session. I think very shortly we're going to be seeing drivers come out on track in the droves. Only 3 on track at the moment. 2 of them, well, I'd say 2 of them, actually both of them on cooldown laps now. Kate Thomas, the only one on an out lap still, finds himself P16. He's getting his time to tempt in before the traffic arrives, because quite frankly, there's just not many places for the traffic to move over to the side for those on the hot laps here. It really is a case of you gotta play around the traffic, and I think that's what Kate Thomas is thinking. To the line now goes Kate Thomas. His timed lap, what will be, I would say, his final attempt, making his way now in towards turn 2. Wide apex there for Kate Thomas. Holds acceleration nicely, but I believe he's played it conservative instead of trying to smack the throttle and maybe get the car up to speed a little bit faster. Interesting to see here. Hits the apex nicely through 3, doing well. Maybe, and it has to said maybe, looks a little slow in acceleration at the moment. He is 0.5 of a second faster at the moment through Sector 1. That'll put him only about to P15 at the most at this point in time. Only a couple of drivers have chosen to come out so far. Through the castle section, he's done nicely then. On the throttle easy enough. This looks like it could be a decent lap here for Kate. His teammate of Scavney currently occupies P6. 1 second off of pole position. Through 15, I think he's had to really lay off there through 15. You can see the car, I don't think, was rotated enough to really get the best line through the corner. He is a 1.5 seconds faster than his previous best, but being that he's 3.5 seconds off the pace, I'd have to say this one may still find him towards the midfield. Lower midfield at that. We're going to find out here in a second. DRS open for Cake. To the line he goes. Let's see what he's got. And he's only promoted to 13th. A flat 2 seconds off the pace. Not ideal for Cake Thomas. And I'm afraid, as he spins it out of turn 1, that's going to be all he can deliver for in this session. Aero Racing Design next up on the timed attempt. Out of turn 1 he goes. Heavy over the exit curb. A little bit odd. Typically you want to stay away from that wall as you possibly can. Hits the entry curb through 2, or the apex curb rather. And I think maybe has he lost some time through there. Tough to tell. Top 3 on outlaps now. Through 3 does well. Takes the corner wide through 4. Doesn't touch the curb on the inside. Uses as much as he can on the outside. He'll be hitting the timing line here in a second. He's currently just under 2.5 tenths faster. That'll put him roughly P7, P6 at best. Through turn 7. How is he not invalidated there? Through the castle section now. We're going to temporarily leave that one to rest right now, as we do have Race Day 2016. I tell you what, he is in pursuit of the Ferrari tandem ahead of him. Race Day 2016 looking to improve on his already impressive provisional pole time. He also has, I believe that is a Williams behind him. Yeah, that is the Williams there. So the Ferrari's using the tow ahead. Race Day getting the tow, however, off of Scornsey, who is getting the tow from Matt Rosie. It's a DRS train amongst the top 3 so far. Edwin has done all he can do. He moves up to second within 5/100ths of a second. That was a great lap from Edwin. I'm afraid it's not enough to take pole, and that's about as close as you can get then. I believe we just had a Red Bull make a mistake then. It's Kate Thomas, I want to say, who's maybe had an incident through 15. Yes, he has. Hoxit and Aero Racing Design P6, P7. Those two have been right even in the times all day so far. Into 7. Now this is where I'm worried about the traffic. The drivers look, they're spread out enough. Oh, this is a right close amount of traffic here, these 3. Granted, I don't think there's any significant braking zones to where they could get caught up in. Although it looks like Race Day was a little slow getting up to speed coming out of 12. Ferrari's into 15. Race day not far behind. Rounds the corner. Cali Robb is gone 5th. Moves to within 3/4 of a second within provisional pole. Pushes Scavney down to P6. It looks like the Ferraris might be having a better lap here. Matt Rossi will be coming down the pit straight, followed by Scornsey. Coming closer to the line now. This one might just be highway robbery here for the Ferrari tandem as Rossi crosses the line first, and he will stay 3rd. Scornsey will stay 4th. So no improvement from the Ferraris, and it's race day 2016 on pole. Wow, and despite the teamwork, the brilliant teamwork used from Ferrari, it was not enough to knock race day off of his pedestal. And I tell you what, he's going to be one hard driver to beat in this race. So your starting grid then for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's race day 2016, looking to make it 5 wins in a row. He starts from pole. GSR Edwin, 2nd in the championship, 2nd in the timing sheets by 5/100ths of a second. 3rd is Matt Rossi, 4th is Scornsey, 2nd row lockout for Ferrari. Cali Robb 5th, Gut Palmer 6th, Scavney 7th, Dusty 8th, Hoxton 9th, 10th Aero Racing Design. It's a 5th row lockout for Alpine. Lancey in the Williams in 11th, Impossible Bacon 12th, 13th Shariah, 14th Kate Thomas, 15th VTEC, 16th is Jorday, 17th Houdini, 18th is Gunner, rounding out the field P19 is MMR Cowboy. Now, despite race day being on pole, he might just be vulnerable. Edwin, very close to taking provisional pole. This one might be a drag race off the line. So 25 seconds until our formation lap begins here in Division 1. I'd like to remind you, each and every Midwest F1 and esports broadcast brought to you by Raise Energy and Epos Audio. Don't really expect a big one on tire strategy tonight unless the safety car comes into play, which very well may. That is going to be a big question mark on the Grand Prix tonight. Let's see what everybody chooses to go on. We do have everybody in the top 8 on mediums. Hoxton hard. Aero Racing Design, Lancey Bacon, Coleslaw Thomas medium. VTEX on the hards as well. Jorday mediums. Houdini and Gunner on the softs, and Cowboy rounding it out on the hards. According to my map, soft tires only going to last between 6 and 8 laps. Mediums 11 to 14, hards 15 to 20. Only 26 laps in tonight's Grand Prix. Fairly decently long lap time, so 26 laps is the number now. I believe if you're Houdini and Gunner, you're counting on that safety car to come out. I believe that is absolutely what they're going to be looking for here. One stop, as you can see, 11 to 14 laps. That's going to be the window, medium to hard. It's race day 2016, our championship leader. Now, despite his 4 wins in a row already, this one is not going to be easy. Can he? Oh, my goodness, he's almost hit the wall, going through the castle section already. Can he survive the carnage tonight? And can he play the safety car game to his advantage? That's going to be a huge question for race day. I think, one, that, I trust him to be ready, and I trust him to kind of expect everything to go down here, but we'll have to wait and see. These races tend to definitely throw a loop for many, many drivers, and race day surely might just be the same. Edwin in second by less than 5/100ths of a second. He, I think, is going to have the best opportunity to knock race day off here in Division 1. He is the round 1 race winner at Saudi Arabia. Have to wait and see. I'm interested where he lines up on the grid. Does he have the inside or the outside? Should he have the inside, he might have an advantage. We faced a similar situation in Japan. It really depends on what line to the grid your car has. Race day, from the looks of it, is going to have the outside. If race day doesn't get a... Oh, goodness gracious, he's hit the wall! How the hell's he done that? Well, I don't even know what to say. Race day has the outside. So race day, if he doesn't get off to a good start, that may spell some trouble for him off the starting grid. That's going to be a huge factor in this one. Does race day get a good enough start to stay ahead of Edwin into the first corner, or at least be able to defend through that first corner, because anywhere after that, it's going to be much more difficult to overtake. As the grid lines up, Lancey and VTech find it difficult to get back to the grid correctly, as it turns out. Whew! I'm ready for this one. We have lights coming on here in Division 1. We have 5. And they are off for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It looks like they've gotten away pretty evenly off the line. Matt Rosie wants it around the outside. He's going to find it around the outside of race day. Does he hit the wall? Yes, he does. Somehow keeps it off of the McLaren. It is Edwin, who does have the lead. And he's taken it off of Race Day. Race Day had to defend both from the Ferrari of Scornsey down to his inside, who's taken the second spot, and Matt Rosie around the outside. How Matt Rosie didn't end in a DNF, I'll never know. But for now, the Ferrari team have done well. It's Dusty and Hoxton side by side now through 3, and that's a Williams that's come to a stop. I believe it is that of Lancey, who's gone straight head on into the wall and somehow hasn't died. Gunnar Addy making that similar mistake as well. As we look, I believe Dusty and Hoxton still close by here. In fact, both of the Alpine drivers failing to leave each other alone. They started next to each other on the grid. I believe they've both also made up a position each. Yes, they have. So the Alpine team making it known their teamwork may get the job done here. Callie Robb has done well to hold position. That's a tough sentence to say. He has got Palmer behind him, maybe trying to close in here anytime he can. At the moment, it is Edwin leading the Grand Prix as he makes his way through 15. I think maybe he's had contact with the outside wall there. That one got right close. But for now, he has the lead. But this will be the problem. Does Edwin get out to enough of an advantage for him to not be the victim of the DRS train? He will be the sitting duck. Well, once we get up to speed here and once DRS comes into play, it looks like aside from the slight incident, so I believe as Bacon had a small incident as well, it doesn't look as if he's got wing damage. He's lost 7 spots. Edwin, at this moment, fastest lap. He's got Scornsey trying to close in. Scornsey's had a much better go of turn 1. He now finds himself within 0.3 of a second, now within 0.2 of a second of the Mercedes ahead. No DRS yet, but with the slipstream in play, he is definitely looking for it. Scornsey here, he's going to have to make this overtake happen. Choose not to yet. Still finds himself behind the Mercedes for now. He is right close, though. And Scornsey, I tell you what, having the name Scornsey pop up in your rear view, that is one of the most intimidating sights you'll ever see in a Formula 1 circuit. And I tell you what, Edwin's going to be under a lot of pressure here. Race Day 2016 has rebounded and has put himself yet again within this fight for the lead. This time, instead of defending the lead, he's trying to find himself reclaim it. Interesting position, not one that he's found himself in many times this season. Fairly even battles here within the top 3, top 4 as well. Matt Rosie not far behind. Callie Robb starting to drift back ever so slightly. He has got Palmer trying to close in on him. At the moment, everything has settled down here in Division 1. GSR Edwin has the lead as they go through 15. Race day has gone quite wide through 15. I believe he's lost a couple of tenths then. And now, not only does DRS come into play, it's going to be energy store as well. Edwin down to 79. Scornsey's used it a bit as well, 68. Race day still at 80. Matt Rosie at 80 as well. Choosing to not use the battery is that of Race Day. Doesn't expect him to need it so far. As ahead, we have Scornsey and Edwin. Scornsey has the fastest lap. Matt Rosie then takes it. I'm going to make sure my laptop my TV volume is turned down here because my headphones are bugging out, and I think I'm going to need to unplug the headset. Oh, what has happened? Something has happened then, I'm afraid, as unfortunately, well, my TV's done a little bit of an odd thing here. Well, that was weird. I can't actually see what's happened. Okay, there we go. Back now. Scornsey in the lead. Not. Looks like Edwin, at this moment in time, still has Scornsey covered off. Race day doing his best to hang in this fight. He's going to need consistency here. That's going to be the big question. This moment in time, it does look as if on the straight line speed is where Race Day might be the strongest at the moment. He's having a little bit of difficulty through some of these corners. Let's see, 15. Yeah, I think again Scornsy had a better exit. I'm not sure. Well, DRS will be in play now. We'll have to wait and see. Does anything happen? Scornsy, I think, still too far away to make the overtake happen. We do have Callie Robb moving in on that of Matt Rossi. In fact, he set the fastest lap. Oh, he's almost gone into the back of the Ferrari then. That was really close, and I'm afraid any advantage he was trying to gain has all gone crumbling away as he's almost binned it into the turn 1 barrier. Scornsy now, within 0.3 of a second. He may have a look at Edwin now as they go in towards turn 3. Does he have a look for the bottom? The answer is going to be no. I think he's going to wait for that pit straight to happen. We have a yellow flag. It's Kate Thomas off at turn 1. Thankfully, I don't believe he's hit anything. That is very unfortunate for the Red Bull driver there. It's gone from bad to worse for him as he's now down 2. Nice train of cars here. Callie Robb doing his best. All the while, Gott Palmer is trying to establish himself in this battle within the top 5 as well. Top 6 cars all separated by less than 3.5 seconds. And all the while, it looks like we've got the Alpine of GSR Hoxton trying to hunt down the back of the Haas of Dusty Lusky here. Dusty seems to perhaps be struggling a little bit. It's a 2.5-second gap from him back to Gott Palmer up in P6. So it looks like he may be at the, is he going to be at the hands, at the mercy of the Alpine drivers here? Certainly what it seems. Oh, I believe, did someone just have a moment there going through, it was either turn 16 or through 17. That one was right close. I saw a car get violently out of shape. I think whoever has corrected it has. I'm going to guess it was Matt Rossi because he's very much under pressure here from Callie Robb. And by under pressure, he's not necessarily closing all that fast, is he? He's going to try it now. Scornsy's going to have a look at Edwin. The answer is going to be no. I expect Callie Robb to go down the inside of Matt Rossi. Yes, he does. And he's going to make that move happen. We had a yellow flag somewhere along the lines. I'm not sure where. It sorted itself out quickly, whatever it was. And now it looks as if Scornsy's going to have this move to Edwin. We'll have to wait and see. Is it going to be through turn 3? It looks like Matt Rossi and Callie Robb trading positions again. It's coming out of turn 16 is the driver in question, and it's Kate Thomas again. I think really this is not going well for the Red Bull driver. Having a little bit of trouble getting it back to grips here. Oh, and he's lost the front wing. That could be a safety car or virtual safety car, depending on where the front wing is. Not only has he lost the front wing, he's got a puncture as well. What has happened to Kate Thomas? Has he ran over debris? And that's a very odd turn of events. And I tell you what, that one... Oh, he's almost... Oh! He's binned it going into the pit lane. I have never seen anything like that. You can't blame him, can you? Because he's had no front wing and couldn't steer with the puncture. That one was quite odd, that. Oh, that one, I'm sure he's not going to like to remember that one. Edwin now, I think, might be under serious pressure from Scornsy. The gap before hitting the DRS less than 0.4 of a second, that one is going to prove to be very difficult here. Down to the inside looks Scornsy in towards turn 1. Does he have it? Yes, he does, and he's got it by some length as well. Edwin had no chance to defend there. The pace of the Ferrari was too much. Looks as if, in my inability to really pay attention, it looks as if Callie Robb's gotten around Matt Rossi again. These two have been battling quite a long time today already. We'll have to wait and see. We're not at pit window yet. Remember, mediums between 11 and 14 is the strategy given by the game, and it looks like we've got ourselves an Alfa Romeo off at turn 2. It is Jordi, who's going to have to reverse onto the circuit here. Ooh, that one's not gone well. VTech, has he got some sort of problem? Because as you can see, He is perhaps struggling with oversteer. Understeer rather, that AlphaTauri. Through the castle section now goes the parade of the top three. Cali Robb has fallen off by about 2.5 seconds. Oh, Aero Racing Design! And that, I believe, is at the castle. Yes, it is. Top of the hill through the castle section. And it's a full safety car on track. Oh, and yeah, that is a very deserved safety car, that one. He's at the top of the crest of the hill. Oh, can we just get another look at Houdini here? He's on the inside of the circuit as well by the apex. Yeah, and there's debris littered the circuit. Yeah, that is a fully deserved safety car, has to be said. And I believe this would be the bare minimum amount of laps for the hard compounds. Can we see, do we see, drivers try it pitting now? Scornsy is going to be a yes. Edwin follows. So does Race Day. Cali Robb as well. Matt Rossi as well. Now, Matt Rossi's going to have to deal with the double stack here. That one's not going to be ideal. Double stack in real life is a damn good burger menu option from Wendy's. And the F1 game, it's gonna mean some trouble, as these pit crews aren't really good at performing these double stacks. Has to be said. Palmer's gonna lose spots. Matt Rossi, I believe as well. It doesn't actually appear he's lost that many spots in the end. In fact, I don't think he's lost any. He has missed out on the position to Cali Robb, but he does come out in 5th. So, safety car on track. And I think it's going to be taking a little while to rack these drivers up. So, as that happens, I'm going to step aside. The safety car finds its way in this lap, assuming no more safety car. Oh, this is an interesting choice here. Matt Rossi has gone to the medium tires. So, if you did pit for anything other than the hards, we're going to assume that you think there's going to be another safety car this race. Everybody else says, I have faith in the Division 1 grid. This is going to be an interesting turn of events here. Now, this is a tricky one here for Baku. So much space in between where the safety car comes into the pit lane and from where it leaves the grid. So oftentimes you'll see, as we have now, it is quite the stack up here. And now Scornsy decides to hit the throttle, and I believe he's left at least Edwin in the dust there. Race Day 2016 has not gotten a good launch whatsoever. He's going to be overtaken here by Cali Robb, perhaps down into turn 1. Does he have it? Oh, Cali Robb really wanted to make that one happen, but chose better of it in the end. I think he could have gotten away with it, really, and had the move look like not so much of a dive. Oh, this is interesting. Matt Rossi's gone around. Now, we saw oversteer from Cali Robb in the Aston Martin. Was it contact between the Ferrari and the Aston Martin? Did the Ferrari hit the rear end of the Aston Martin of Cali Robb? Tough one to tell there, because suddenly Matt Rossi goes around. Cali Robb stays okay. We'll have to find some footage of that one somewhere, because that is a very odd incident to be had. Hoxit on the medium tires wants to get around Gott Palmer here. Between the top three, it is just over a second and a half. Race Day doing his best, and I think Race Day is going to have a nice little cushion back to P4 after Cali Robb's incident, then coming through turn 2. Not sure if anybody's going to be under investigation from that. It was tough to tell what had actually happened. Was the oversteer from Cali Robb, and did it back up Matt Rossi into the spin? Did Matt Rossi hit the rear end of Cali Robb and Matt Rossi went around? It's tough to tell. Really not sure. But at the moment, it is Scornsy who has the lead still as they make their way through 18 and 19. Leads Edwin by 0.7 of a second. Race Day 2016 trying to stay within that gap of potential DRS range. It's not going to be this lap or the next. It's going to be the one after. So lap 11, I believe, is when we're going to get DRS back. 0.5 of a second between Edwin and the leader of Scornsy. As we look a little bit further back, Shariah Coleslaw might have a move here on MMR Cowboy down to the inside into 1. He choose not to make it happen. I think he recognized he was going to run out of time. Meanwhile, Houdini, I think, almost had a move there at a VTEC, and nothing came of it, I'm afraid, but it did look as if that move was on temporarily. Looks like Scavney could make a move here at Dusty Lusky here in a minute. I'm afraid none of these moves really are going to happen without the aid of DRS. Lancey down to the inside. Jourda's going to go wide through 3. Oh, Jourda spun. Lancey's in the wall. And we now have, that's a big conundrum there, as that's right in the middle of the track. And the safety car out again, and I believe this time it's going to be for debris. And I'm going to be right honest with you guys. I don't think that's anybody's fault naturally. I mean, we saw Jordan lose the back end of the car coming out of 3. He was pushed wide from Lancey as Lancey wanted to make the overtake. In all fairness to Jordan, it was a late move at Lancey. He didn't recognize that he had the space to the inside until he saw that Jordan was backed up behind Matt Rosie. I don't necessarily think anybody is specifically at fault there. I would chalk that up as a racing incident. We'll have to wait and see what the stewards say. Safety car out here. It'll be a 16-lap window on the mediums. The game says 14 is the max. Do we see drivers, perhaps, pit for the mediums and try to make them stick? I would suggest that we're going to stay to the hards to the end. We'll have to wait and see. I think Scornsy may have had a quick thought about it, not going to make it happen. I would expect drivers like Hoxton to be coming in now. Anybody who chose those mediums the last time by, I think, really. No, maybe not. Going to be staying out here. Everybody minus the 2 involved, although I believe Cowboy will be coming in. He is on 10-lap old hards. He'll be coming in now, and I believe fitting. Is he going to fit the mediums? This is an interesting choice here for the AlphaTauri. Let's see what he does. Mediums going on for the AlphaTauri. Other than that, no real change in position, and I'll step aside until we get the safety car in. The safety car will be coming in now. Didn't really get much movement in the pits then, it has to be said. Only a couple drivers chose to pit. Those mostly those with damage. VTech has made a second stop. I believe Matt Rosie, Lancey's made a third stop now. Interesting here for race day. Will he be caught lacking this time? Because he certainly was at the end of last safety car. Scornsy had pulled away, didn't necessarily catch Edwin by surprise. Race day fell off by about 0.6 of a second back to the Mercedes, and I think he is ready this time, and off we go yet again in race day. Yeah, he wasn't going to be making that mistake again. Cali Rob, tough to say for him. I think he may have made that mistake. Race day is going to look to the outside. Scornsy does hold the lead through turn 1, and he's going to do so well. Got Palmer's made his way up to 5th. In fact, if we look and see, he is up. Oh, he's actually trading positions here with Hoxton side by side. Oh, contact with the Alpine. Maybe did he lose a piece of his front wing there? That was quite some contact with her left rear tire. Doesn't appear that he has. No harm, no foul. Scavney now to the inside. Oh, he did want to move around the house of Dusty Lusky. He's chosen to not pursue that overtake. I think that may have been a missed opportunity there for the Red Bull driver, but all pretty much stays the same here. Hoxton currently up 4 positions, finds himself 5th. Gunnar Addy and MMR Cowboy up 6 positions respectively. They are the biggest movers in the positive direction, but unfortunately in the negative direction, it is that of Matt Rosie. Oh, and I believe, VTech, I can tell you one thing, VTech has not finished the Grand Prix here. I don't know what's happened with VTech. We have another safety car on track. I just watched both Scornsy and that of Edwin completely smack the wall going out of turn 7. I'm surprised they didn't lose front wings. I was kind of caught up in the DNF of VTech there, which he had DNF before turn 7, so he either had oversteer or he had help. And I'm not sure what exactly has happened. But we have yet another safety car on track, and I think if we're going to have anybody come in for the mediums, it's going to be now. I'm not rightly sure. It was 2 back on. Remember, the window for the mediums, 11 to 14 laps. With the time under safety car as well, it may be helpful. Scornsy's going to say no. Last-minute decision from Scornsy to stay out, and the rest of the top 5 follows. Got Palmer, the only one who bites. He's coming in, and I can guarantee you he's going to be putting on the mediums. Scavney stays out. Dusty Lusky stays out. Hoxton stays out. Coleslaw, Rosie, pretty much the entire grid, other than Palmer, Gunner, Cowboy, and Bacon, are the only 4 that have chosen to come in this time. Let's see, does anybody replace a front wing here? It looks as if maybe did Gunner make that happen. VTech has dropped the F-bomb in the chat, and he's not mentioned names. So in my expert analysis here, that may have been just pure driver error from the AlphaTauri driver. I assume we're gonna have a couple drivers. Well, it's going to be a couple laps still for the safety car to catch up, so I'm going to step aside one more time. I think we're going to have the safety car in shortly. Not a lot of movement on the pit lane, not a lot of movement within the top 5. We'll have to wait and see if drivers start to get gutsy. I don't mind the overcast clouds. Those are scheduled, and none of them contain rain. So I will step aside and let the safety car sort itself out yet again. 3rd time today. So with 11 laps to go this time by, the safety car is going to be on its way in. Now, how mentally draining has this been for Scornsy? And that's going to be the big question here, because now he's going to have to perfect not 1, not 2, but 3, and potentially more of these safety car restarts here. He's done well, but I think maybe does Edwin recognize the pattern at this point that Scornsy's going to weave until he gets around turn 20 and then steps on the throttle, because he's going to have to wait for the safety car to make its way into the pit lane. And I'm going to say about the end of the DHL advertisements here, he's going to step on the gas, and that is, well, exactly what he did. Oh, but look at this. He's decided to back out of it, and now the field comes behind. He's thrown Edwin for a loop. Race Day is going to try to have him around the outside. The Alpine of Hoxton trying to, I believe, go low on the Aston Martin there, and he has. The Aston Martin has kept himself ahead. In fact, the Alpine has wiggled out of position, and the Haas of Dusty Lusky gets ahead. And that was what I was thinking was going to happen there. Scornsy, the trick, I believe, really got read that time, and he had to back himself out of again. Now, interestingly enough, if that did cause any contact or damage, that one could be penalized. Oh, that's big contact! Into the wall goes Dusty, and he's lost a hefty portion of his front wing. In fact, all of it, it's gone. Now, as I was going to point out, if you could consider that, stacking up the field, if there was perhaps damage involved, I've seen cases made for penalties for the control car of the safety car queue. I don't think Scornsy's done anything out of the ordinary there. He better hope that nobody's crashed behind him in the queue. It doesn't seem like it has, but that one was right close indeed. And I'm afraid for Dusty Lusky, now, not only does he have his front wing gone, he's also holding up the pack behind him. Well, somehow he's actually taken the castle section and not crashed. That's impressive in itself. Oh, we have got Palmer and Jordan here battling it out through 13 and 14. And wow, the McLaren has gotten past the Alfa Romeo there. And here he is down to the inside of the Haas. And thankfully now, I will say Dusty Lusky doing his best to keep himself competitive. He should really be getting out of the way for the lead pack. That part is what I would think. Hoxton now trying to close in on that of Cali Robb. Scavney a little bit farther behind. I don't think he'll have a look at the position yet. But here comes Hoxton, round the outside of Cali Robb. No DRS necessary. Behind in the background of the picture, Matt Rosie's, I believe, just gotten around Shirai Coleslaw for the 7th spot. Jordan's getting around Bacon. Lots of mixing up in the positions here towards the tail end of the grid. And Possible Bacon, I believe, is... Oh, and Jordan's gone around, and Jordan's crashed! That one, I'm going to have to say, is going to be another safety car, and it is our 4th of the day. And Jordan, we've seen throughout the day, has had several problems with oversteer on the car, and yet again it comes back to bite him. We're down to 15 cars left in the Grand Prix, yet another safety car on track, and a very unfortunate day for the Alfa Romeo team. It's really gone from bad to worse. I know Gunnar Addy's +3 positions, but yet again, Scornsy's going to need to make it, well, this is interesting. He's going to have to make a decision here. Does he pit for mediums? Does he maybe even pit for softs? I think it's too far out of the way for softs still. We'll have to wait and see. This is a very interesting Grand Prix here. It's start, stop, start, stop. Gotta be mentally draining for the Ferrari of Scornsy. And really for all the drivers as well. I know the pause button exists, but it doesn't help that much. I'm more excited to see if Scornsy is going to mix up his safety car routine here. Knowing that, I think now Edwin and Race Day have caught on to it. Yet again, a full safety car. I think we're going to be left with roughly 6 laps, I think, at the very most left. Scornsy does not come in. Edwin was gonna follow him, and he chose not to. Last-minute decision-making there for Scornsy. We saw it the last time as well. Callie Robb does come in, as well as Scornsy's teammate of Matt Rosie. I don't want to say things are looking bleak here for race day 2016. There's really not much he could have done today. He had the starting sequence. He had the Ferrari to the outside, the Ferrari to the inside. And I'm afraid he got swallowed up in the first corner. He stayed out of trouble, but he is running out of time to get back on the top step of the podium. And in all fairness, it's not his fault either. I think really this is helping Scornsy more than anybody. He might coast to a free win here. Does have to be said. We'll step aside until the safety car ceases once again. Safety car making its way back in this time by 7 laps to go at the stripe this time. Scornsy now, yet again, we said this the last time, Scornsy's going to have a tough job here because I think Edwin and Race Day are going to be absolutely on their toes. Scornsy, every single time, has waited until passing. You'll see the DHL advertisements here on the right-hand side before the DRS zone. Once he crosses the end of it, he does go. Let's see if he does it again. He waits a little bit longer and then goes again. Oh, I tell you what, who got caught sleeping that time? It may have been Edwin, because Race Day's alongside him into turn 1. We'll have to wait and see. Does Race Day have the spot? The answer's no. Edwin went low. Oh, I think he's maybe brushed the wall coming out of turn 1. Tell you what, that one got right close there for Edwin, but he's held on to the second spot, and now Race Day is going to need to battle here because he's running out of time to make it 5 in a row. Scornsy, all he's had to do is simply exist, and he may end up with a win today. Shariah Coleslaw getting around his teammate of Lancey as even before they make their way into turn 3. Oh, that one may have been a problem there. Oh, as Race Day, it's a battle for the second place, and I'm missing it. I hate when I do that, I apologize. Oh, but now Hoxton down to the inside on Race Day. When did he get here? We had Race Day sideways with Edwin. That's big contact. And I think it has to be said, Race Day may have been shoved out of position there by the Alpine. It was wheel-to-wheel contact coming out of turn 6. And Race Day has been forcefully moved down to P4. And as we saw, as I was trying to go along with everything happened so quickly, Shariah outbraked his teammate of Lancey, and maybe did he back up Lancey into turn 3 and almost ended up in Lancey losing positions. That one got right close because he did go quite slow at the apex, did Shariah. It's a fair defensive maneuver. I don't know if it was on purpose or that's just how it happened, but it did look seriously close to resulting in his teammate losing spots. Speaking of losing spots, I believe Matt Rosie's had an error, and he has, as he loses 2, one to Callie Robb and one to Houdini. And a confirmation now in the AlphaTauri chat, it is VTech saying that he did spin by himself. That was the one coming out of turn 6 that we were confused about. Odd spot to lose the car. And with 5 laps to go now, Scornsy has the lead, and not just has the lead, he is absolutely maintaining it. He's got it by almost 3 seconds. I don't believe we have DRS in play yet. The answer is no. It'll be next time by. Race Day might have to defend from Scavney here. Now, this will help Edwin's chances for the championship, but Race Day still has a good points haul, and on top of that, he is still quite a ways ahead of GSR Edwin. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out in the maths department. That one I'm certainly not good at. It looks like Matt Rosie losing even more, as now Dusty Lusky has gotten around him again. Well, I believe Matt Rosie actually struck back at Dusty Lusky, and unfortunately was not able to hold the spot because not long ago Dusty was ahead and then suddenly did gain and lose the spot again. Race Day within 0.5 of a second on that of Hoxton. Hoxton's been relatively quiet today, albeit he's gained 6 positions and now puts himself on the podium. How clean the overtake was is my question, because a fair ways out of turn 6, the wheels were locked between the two, and I'm thinking, oh, I don't know, it's tough to say, because I doubt Hoxton's done anything seriously, on purpose or anything. But if I was Race Day, I'd be slightly questioning that one. on that specific position loss. Well, it's Lancey now trying to chase down his teammate at Shariah Coleslaw. We'll have DRS enabled coming out of turn 2. Does Lancey make a move down to the inside? No, he doesn't. Palmer might have a look here. And by look, I mean he was just entertaining the thought. Wasn't really in a position to make the move happen. But, I will be said, neat little chain of cars here. Oh, look at Cali Rob! Real big dive there on Impossible Bacon, and does he make it happen? The answer is yes. I don't really know how clean that move was. It was quite the dive. I didn't see anything wrong with it to the naked eye, so we'll have to assume that it was a good move. Oh, and Bacon's locked up! And he's gone almost into the runoff area outside of turn 3. Relegates himself down to P15. Ooh, that was a howler then from Impossible Bacon, it has to be said. I'm afraid I don't blame him either. Jeez, that was quite the lockup. Meanwhile, Palmer and Lancey were side by side through 7. That was definitely contact there between the Williams, the Dutchman and the Williams, and Palmer and the McLaren. Undoubtedly contact there. Was Palmer trying to make the move? Oh, was he tapped from Rob? I'm not sure, but he spun, and somehow he's... Oh, this is a terrible spot to be backed around as well. Falls back to P15. He's at the tail end of the grid now, thankfully. Thankfully, as in, he was able to hold on to the car as far as the bodywork-wise, and he didn't pull out in front of traffic, because that was a very poor spot to be turned around. Absolute blind corner to his right. Yikes, that one was difficult. We have 4 laps to go at the stripe this time. DRS enabled. Lancey's going to make a move here on Shariah Coleslaw. I don't really think it's... I don't want to say it's not worthwhile between these two battling, but they're not really gaining anything, are they? They're only 2 drivers within DRS range on each other. Hoxid's was within 0.2 of a second of Edwin. Edwin's gotten better acceleration out of 2, it seems, and now is under pressure from the McLaren of Race Day, who's looking to get back onto the podium. It's 0.2 of a second. Race Day did entertain the thought of going low into 3, but he didn't end up making that move happen. Again, Race Day's car looks absolutely superior on the straight line speed. I'm just questioning the rest of the circuit, because I think Race Day is typically one of those drivers to absolutely go for qualifying pace. And maybe does he kind of neglect the setup, downforce-wise to get on pole. I think that may have happened. And speaking of may have happened, I think Lancey has either made a mistake or made contact with somebody, because he has fallen 2 spots there. Cali Rob and Dusty Lusky has overtaken the Dutchman. See, this is what I'm worried about here, because again, we see Race Day teetering on the outside of half a second, and this is where he's losing that ground. As fast as his car is in the straight line, he's losing the ground through the corners, and I believe is not really affording himself the opportunity. Oh, and Shariah's gone off, and that's a huge collision, and it's an absolute traffic vision. 1 crashes I've ever seen. The front wings absolutely scattering the circuit, and the safety car on track. At least 1, 2... Only 2? Really? Well, we at least lost Shariah and Dusty, several others losing their front wings. Wow. Huge accident then through 15. And Scornsey decides to stay out. Edwin stays out. Hoxid, Race Day, Scabney. Oh, and Cali Robs picked up 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. That's not ideal. And that one, it has to be said, very reminiscent to that of Spa 1998. Absolute traffic jam there through turn 15. And everyone else behind just simply wasn't afforded the opportunity to stop in time, and they've all piled into each other. And so now, this is a big question, because we're going to have 2 laps to go this next time by. I'll assume the safety car is going to be in at the end of this lap. Hudson, doing his best to catch up here, is still 17 seconds behind, says the Delta. Edwin, it's going to be mano-a-mano here, perhaps, for the win. We faced a very similar situation in Coleslaw Cup back in Singapore between El Majacco and Scornsey. I was on call for that race, and I lost my mind when El Majacco took the lead of that Grand Prix at the death like this. Hoxton, I think, is, after all, going to get the opportunity to catch up to the safety car queue. Top two on Old Hards. Hoxton, Race Day, Houdini. Well, Hoxton and Race Day at least on fresh softs. Houdini and Gunner 6-lap old softs, respectively. Field relegated down to 12. Houdini's put himself in the top 5 here. Again, it's been about staying out of trouble. We're going to get a 2-lap shootout for the win here in Azerbaijan. This track never ceases to amaze me in the races it puts on. As much as I don't typically like to see races scattered with safety cars, it has absolutely thrown the grid for a loop here. And speaking of throwing for a loop, what does Scorza? Matt Rosie's lost it under safety car! The safety car that stays in the pits. Matt Rosie's car is stranded outside of turn 20. Turn 19. Down to the inside yet again. Hoxton and Race Day argy-bargy there between the two of them. That sounds very weird to say as an American, I'll admit. Gunnar Addy losing spots to both Bacon and Scavney. Race Day wants it around the outside of Edwin here into 3. Oh, this will be a crazy one if he makes it happen. Edwin covers the line nicely. In the back goes Hoxton. Race Day was able to get himself back on the podium. Here comes Race Day down to the inside into 4. Very unorthodox spot to try to make a move. Does he do it? Yes, he does. Edwin gets loose off on the throttle. And Race Day puts himself back to 2nd. Championship leaders battling it out. And now Scornsy. It's a 2.5 seconds. DRS will not be in play. But you have to wonder, how quickly can Race Day take the lead of the Grand Prix, considering he's on the fresh rubber? The gap is closing, but not by much. Will Race Day have enough time to give himself the opportunity to win the Grand Prix? Through 13, 14, and 15 for the penultimate time. It's 0.7 seconds here between the top two. Remember, these two went at it for the win in Australia. It was a photo finish between them. 0.6 seconds. It's going to come down to straight line speed, I think, in the end. In that department, Race Day 2016 has the advantage, and he has done so all Grand Prix. Yellow flag at the back. It's Lancey and Cowboy, it seems. No virtual safety car. 1 lap to go here in Baku. Hoxton looks like he may make a move at Edwin here, but right now, it is Race Day. Does he have enough to get to Scornsy into the first corner for the final time? The answer is no. It's still 0.4 seconds. Gott Palmer has the fastest lap. It looks as if Edwin almost got overtaken there by Hoxton, but the answer is no. Race Day now exiting turn 2. He's got a really good pace here as he makes his way towards turn 3. Scornsy blocks the line well. In towards 3. Race Day goes high. Scornsy switches. That's a big wiggle there from Race Day, has to be said. Hoxton has promoted himself up to 3rd again. He's gotten around the Mercedes of Edwin through 3. Another yellow flag. It looks as if perhaps the Alfa Romeo and the Haas. Race Day down to the inside through 5. He's going to get it around the outside through 5 and 6, and he's got the lead of the Grand Prix on the final lap. How in the hell is this managed? Race Day 2016. Under the radar the entirety of the Grand Prix, had to sit behind so many safety car. Safety car after safety car for Race Day. All he could do was sit and watch and pray that Scornsy would make a mistake. And I think by not pitting, Scornsy has made the mistake, and Race Day's taken the lead, and at the death, he's gonna take the lead of the Grand Prix. It doesn't matter how many laps you lead, it only matters that you lead the last one. And Race Day 2016, highway robbery. Someone call the police. Scornsy's been robbed. And I tell you what, Race Day 2016, making his way out of 20. Scornsy's got nothing. 20-lap old hard tires. Race Day 2016 will, and I mean will, be making it 5 consecutive wins here in Division 1. He will win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here in Division 1. Scornsy gets 2nd. Hoxton gets 3rd. Wow. Race Day 2016, against all odds, puts himself on the top step of the podium. Unbelievable. Mr. April. It's race day 2016. Well, after it's all said and done here in Baku, race day gets it at the death. Scornsy takes second, Hoxid third, Edwin fourth, Scavney fifth, Bacon sixth, Lancey seventh and driver of the day, Gunnar Addy eighth, ninth is Houdini, 10th Cowboy, 11th Palmer, 12th Rosie, 13th Cali Rob, and I think that's going to do it for the cars that ended up finishing this Grand Prix. Whew, what a race, and next week we head down to Miami for round 7 of the season. Hotspot, it's been a pleasure joining you this week in Division 1. We'll see you next time.